Vice President Sara Duterte warns her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, that he may suffer the same fate as former Senator Ninoy Aquino Jr. once he comes back to the Philippines. In a video published by SMNI, the Vice President, who was addressing Filipinos in The Hague on Sunday, March 23, says her father has said that he wants to return to the country. The Vice President also says that the former President wants to return to serve as mayor of Davao City. The Vice President then says she told her father that his desire to go home might end his life, like Aquino. According to the Vice President, former President Duterte responded saying that if that is his fate, so be it, as long as he is in the Philippines. Former Senator Aquino was assassinated in the airport which now bears his name on August 21, 1983. His murder led to a clamor which eventually toppled late dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. through a people power revolution. Meanwhile, in a briefing on Monday, March 24, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Clara Castro says that the Vice President's statement that her father's life is in danger once he comes back to the country is not true.
Yun na nga po nakakapagtaka Saan po ba nakukuha itong mga kwento na ganito? Saan po nakukuha ang pagkukumpara kay dating Ninoy Aquino? Saan nakukuha yung mga threats? As a matter of fact, hanggang ngayon yung sinasabing threats kay VP Sara, hindi pa rin po na ipapakita sa NBI at saka sa PNP. So saan lamang po ito nakukuha? Kailangan po natin kasi ng mga materyales, ng mga ebidensya bago po magsagawa ng ganitong mga klaseng statements. Wala pong katotohanan yan.
Quoting the former president's statement, Castro says former President Duterte did not compare himself with Aquino but with Adolf Hitler.
Inahahalintulad ba ni VP Sara ang kanyang ama kaya sa yumaong Ninoy Aquino? Parang hindi po natin nadinig noon na inahilintulad ni dating Pangulong Duterte ang sarili niya kay Ninoy, kung hindi kay Hitler. Meron po siyang sinabi mismo, sinabi pa niya dito, and I quote, Hitler massacred 3 million, actually it's supposed to be 6 million Jews. Now there is 3 million, what is it? 3 million drug addicts in the Philippines. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them. At least if Germany had Hitler, the Philippines would have me.
Castro then says that it is unlikely for the former president to see himself as Aquino, who did not have record of mass murder or crimes against humanity. Former President Duterte is currently under the custody of the International Criminal Court as he faces charges on his alleged crimes against humanity during his administration's war on drugs. He is scheduled to face the court for his confirmation of charges hearing on September 23, 2025. The family of late Senator Ninoy Aquino Jr. says Ninoy's return to the Philippines and former President Rodrigo Duterte's bid to return to the country lack similarity. Vice President Sara Duterte, in an address to Filipinos in The Hague, Netherlands on Sunday, March 23, said she discouraged her father, former President Duterte, from returning to the country as he could suffer the same fate as Ninoy. The Vice President's statement comes after the former President told her that he wants to return to the country. According to an official statement from the Aquino family, a study of the country's history would show that Ninoy was treated far differently compared to what former President Duterte is experiencing now. Ninoy was killed upon his return to the country on August 21, 1983, after marking an end to his self-imposed exile to the United States. The former senator was a staunch critic of former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., father of incumbent President Bongbong Marcos. Meanwhile, former Senator Eala de Lima echoes the statement of the Aquino family. According to de Lima, Ninoy returned to the Philippines for the nation and for democracy, while Duterte, according to de Lima, wants to escape accountability from his crimes. She further says that history will always know the difference. Meanwhile, in a briefing on Monday, March 24, the palace denies the vice president's claims that her father's life will be in danger once he returns to the country. The palace adds that it is far-fetched to compare former President Duterte to Ninoy, especially when Duterte once likened himself to Adolf Hitler. According to the palace, Ninoy did not have records of mass murder nor crimes against humanity. In a separate briefing, Senate President Cheese Escudero declines to comment on the Vice President's statement. He notes the Vice President's contradicting statements, where she previously said in a briefing that her father may not come back to the country anymore.
I don't want to comment on any speculation dahil yung pagbabalik pa lang malaking question na yun dahil sinabi rin niya sa parang interview, hindi ba? Na hindi na makakabalik tapos biglang babalaan niya na kung bumalik. Ayoko magkomentaryo sa nagbabalik-tarang mga opinyon kaugnay sa bagay na yan. Hintayin ko na lamang kung talaga magaganap yan.
The former president was arrested and brought to custody of the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands, for his alleged crimes against humanity committed during his administration's drug war. Vice President Sara Duterte says that a country's leader should resign if he cannot show to the people that he can lead and think clearly. Supporters of former President Rodrigo Duterte gathered in The Hague, Netherlands on Sunday, March 23, chanting, "Marcos resign." Responding to them, the Vice President said it was the crowd that made the call for resignation of President Bongbong Marcos and not her. The Vice President then said that leadership relates to transparency and accountability. Furthermore, the Vice President also said that a country's leader should resign if he does not show to the people that he can lead and think clearly. In response, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro questions Vice President Duterte's statements, saying the government only follows the law.
Kung pinag-resign po nila ang Pangulo, sino po ba ang makikinabang? Kahit sabihin po ni VP Sara o kayo nagsabi niyan, siya pa rin po ang makikinabang. Sasabihin po ba na walang kakayanan mamuno? Paano po natin masasabi ito? Kung ang pinapailal po natin ay ang batas.
Castro points out a person cannot lead if he or she is not transparent to the people.
At very transparent po tayo sa anumang mga transaksyon. Hindi po mas kakayanin ng isang tao na mamuno na maraming inililihim, maraming itinatago at hindi nagpapakita ng anumang dokumento, more particularly about the funds.
The palace says President Bongbong Marcos' mom on why he skipped his sister, Senator Imee Marcos, while introducing candidates in a sortie in Cavite last week. During the Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas rally last Friday, March 21, the president only mentioned 11 candidates, skipping his sister, Senator Marcos, who is vying for another term in the Senate. All candidates were mentioned by the president, including Las Piñas City Representative Camille Villar, who, like Senator Marcos, was also not present during the sortie in Cavite. In a briefing on Monday, March 24, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro was asked on what the president meant by skipping the name of Senator Marcos. Castro says,
Ang pagkakasabi lang po sa atin ay maliwanag po ang kanyang sinabi at hintayin na lamang po ang susunod na mga rally para malaman po natin kung ano po ba yung ibig niya talagang sabihin dito.
Castro also says that according to Senator Marcos, she has not spoken yet with the president.
Ayon din po kay Senator Imee ay hindi pa po siya nakikipag-usap kay Pangulo. So as of the moment, as of this time, as we speak, wala pa po tayong alam na nakapag-usap na po sila.
Senator Marcos is currently leading a Senate inquiry into former President Rodrigo Duterte's arrest in relation to charges on crimes against humanity allegedly committed during his administration's drug war. In a statement released hours after last Friday's rally, Senator Marcos brushed off her brother's actions. According to Senator Marcos, she already said that she would focus on investigating the events that took place when the former president was arrested. Filipina teen Alex Eala stunned 5th seed Madison Keys in the Miami Open on Sunday, securing a historic 6-4, 6-2 victory. The 19-year-old wild card became the first Filipina to defeat a top 10 opponent since the WTA rankings began in 1975, celebrating the milestone with an emotional embrace with her team. Eala, the 2022 US Open girls singles champion who has been based to the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca since she was 13, will now take on Spain's Paula Badosa for a spot in the quarterfinals. In her on-court interview following the match, Eala expressed hopes that her run will take Filipino tennis to the next step. Keys, who was badly beaten by Aryna Sabalenka in the Indian Wells semifinals, conceded she was well short of her best form. Motorists will spend more for fuel this week as oil companies announce a hefty increase in gasoline effective Tuesday, March 25. In separate advisories, firms say that the price of gasoline will climb by 1 peso and 10 centavos per liter. Prices of diesel and kerosene will likewise increase by 40 centavos per liter each. Petrogas, Sea Oil, and Shell Filipinas will adjust its pump prices on Tuesday at 6 a.m., followed by Clean Fuel at 4:01 p.m. Based on the Department of Energy's price monitoring, before this week's price hike, gasoline and diesel have year-to-date net increases of 2 pesos and 15 centavos per liter and 2 pesos and 85 centavos per liter respectively, while kerosene recorded a total net decrease of 70 centavos per liter.